Real talk, no BS. No scripts, no favors, no referee. What they won't say, we address it directly. Street news, street politics, respect the integrity. Real talk, no BS. Real talk, no BS. No filters, no cap, no sensitivity. From the corner to the courts, it's the recipe. If it ain't real life, don't mention me. It's for the blocks where the cameras don't stay, where the truth get buried under headlines and pay. We don't glamorize pain, we contextualize.
What's the deal? What's the deal? Video a little different. Reaction a little different. We always try to stamp ourselves and etch ourselves in history. The way that is being done today is almost like self-genocide. So y'all see the title, you know what I'm saying? T4 Dalok, the person that did that been arrested. Everybody want to be seen, right? Everybody want this thing that is worse than a drug, clout, supplemental fame of what you think you have, right? Because that's what the internet shows. In the midst of all that, people start going in different sections and areas and geographical locations with cameras and recording the things and some of the activities and antics that was going on. And a lot of things occurred from these videos. Actions were sought out. Things were done. A lot of politicking, you could say, right? But we're gonna get to the content. We're gonna react to this content. Shout out Reputable Rants for the content. At the end of the video, I'll show y'all where y'all can go follow, subscribe, you know what I'm saying? With that being said, we're gonna get into it.
In today's video, we're going to be talking about how the Broadway Gangsta Crips and the Denver Lane Gangsta Bloods would go to war with each other. We're going to break down how T4 was killed by the Denver Lane Bloods and how T6 was killed by the PDLs. But let's dive right into it. But to understand this story, we're going to have to start with the lineage of the Broadway gangsters. In T4 would stand for Tall Number 4, aka Tiny Tall. And he would have a little brother named T5 who would be under him. And under T5 would be T6, who also passed away. But the Broadway gangsters and the Denver Lane Bloods been beefing for decades. But we're going to start off in 2024, where T6 would lose his life, and T6's real name would be Dupree Moore. And he was shot and killed on June 25th of 2024 at around 9:20 at night, and he was only 17 years old. And he was shot at the Chevron gas station on the 400 block of East Avenue L in Lancaster. And it's alleged that T6 was with T4 and a couple other Broadway gangsters when they were at the gas station getting gas. And police would see on surveillance video that a Mercedes-Benz SUV pulled into the park.
Hey, YouTube, I don't own the rights. I don't own the rights. This is a reaction. And the message behind it need to be amplified for real, for real. Let's go.
Parking lot and pulled up to the gas station pump across from them. And they would see two shooters jump out the Mercedes-Benz and open fire on them. However, T6 would be the only person that was shot that night. And the surveillance video was clear as day, and police would see the two shooters jump out the Mercedes-Benz. They would see the license plate, and they would see one man wearing a mask and the other man not wearing a mask. And they were able to identify the man that wasn't wearing the mask. And they would identify him as 20-year-old Jerry Wimberly III, aka Baby Papa Crab. And they would see that the other shooter was his older brother, Jerry Wimberly Jr., who was 22, and his name would be Little Papa Crab. And they would say that the driver was 37-year-old Vianney Richardson, who would be Big Papa Crab. And they would say that all three were members of the Pasadena Denver Lane Bloods. And they would allege that on the night of June 25th of 2024, the day that T6 lost his life, they would be responsible for 2 other shootings. So in total on that night, they would commit 3 shootings where 2 would lose their life and 1 other person would survive. And in the indictment, they would say that Big Papa Crab was responsible for the first attempted murder. And they would say that this shooting took place at around 7:15 at night in Lancaster. And they would say that Big Papa Crab shot at the victim at least 12 times. And they would say that the victim was from the Hoovers and he suffered multiple gunshot wounds, but he survived. They would then say that after the shooting, he traveled to a deceased gang member's gravesite where he met the Wimberly brothers. And the deceased gang member they were speaking of would be Tiny Scrap from PDL. In June 25th would actually be the day that Tiny Scrap was killed, and that was his 2-year anniversary. And this would be a video of Little Papa Crab and Siete from Brims. And as you can see, Little Papa Crab would have a TS chain, which would stand for Tiny Scrap. But
now, when all this happened, when all this first happened, all this went on, right? Yeah, content was made. Compton, Rick Rock, myself, Nina Boy, a couple of others. And the message was pushed back then, just like it is now. Get out the streets. Get out the streets, go do something with yourself. I promise you, it ain't nothing like when I came up, nothing like Nina Boy came up, Compton, Brick Rocks, whatever. None of the people that are looked at in certain ways, right? It was a whole different time, whole different thing. It was money. Fame was something different back then. What your fame was something way different. You actually earned it. It wasn't because you had 1,000 followers and this and that and all this and that. You had party gangsters, but it wasn't that. Not like that. A lot of them got told to take their ass home. That's real. Watch how y'all move, man. Hey, man, this y'all world, man. We going old in it. You know what I'm saying? Us that y'all watch do this content, reactions, whatever, podcasts, whatever. Go do something with y'allself, man. Let's go.
Shortly after arriving at the gravesite and shortly after the first attempted murder, they would go do another shooting. And this time, this would be the first body.
The people, the families, brothers, sisters, mothers, cousins, uncles, dads, a whole lot of people get affected by this. For clout? Ain't nobody in that courtroom with you. Ain't nobody in that cell with you. None of that. But this is what y'all chase, though.
They caught. But they would say that the murder of E.G. happened in the area of Witt Carter Park. And it's alleged that E.G. was working under the hood of a vehicle. And that's when Papa Crab 1, 2, and 3 would see him. And they would notice that he was wearing a Washington Nationals hat. And the hat was also blue. And they would say that the PDL rivals actually wore that hat. And it's alleged that they would fire around 20 gunshots at him from a 9mm, where he would pass away from multiple gunshot wounds. And they're alleging that the shooting happened around 9 o'clock at night, which would be about an hour and a half after the first shooting. And after the murder of E.G., they would return back to the gravesite of Tiny Scrap. And the last murder would be the murder of T6, aka Dupree Moore. And like we said before, the shooting happened around 9:20 at night, which would be 20 minutes after the murder of E.G. And they would say that T6 was a member of the Broadway Gangsta Crips, and he died from multiple gunshot wounds. And they would say that after the murder of T6, they would return back to the gravesite of Tiny Scrap. So that would be the third time that they returned to the gravesite. And they would say that hours later, around 2:18 in the morning, Big Papa Crab would post a story on his Instagram. And in the background, a song was playing and it said he tried to run for his life. But like we said, T4 and a couple of other Broadway gangsters were out there that night when T6 lost his life. But it's alleged and rumored that the very next day, on June 26th of 2024, T4 and the Broadway gangsters would retaliate. And this shooting would happen around 5:55 at night. And like we said, it happened on June 26th of 2024, which was a day after T6 lost his life. And the shooting happened on the 800 block of East Avenue J12. And this would be a known hangout spot for the PDLs. But it's alleged that the Broadway gangsters would pull up and a few shooters would jump out the vehicle and open fire on the group, hitting 7 people, where 1 was deceased on the scene and the other passed away in the hospital. But luckily for the other 5, they survived. However, there was no arrest made in that shooting. And after that, the Broadway Gangsters and the Denver Lane Bloods would continue to feud. In about a year after all that happened, T5, who would be T4's little brother, would be arrested for a shooting on the Denver lanes. And he was arrested on April 8th of 2025. And they would charge him with one count of assaulting a person with a semi-automatic firearm. And that would have one enhancement of great bodily injury. And they would charge him with 3 counts of shooting at a vehicle. And the last count would be willfully discharge of a firearm in a grossly negligent manner. But the offense date was January 22nd of 2025, which was 3 months before he was arrested. He would then have to sit in the county jail with no bail, but 3 months after being arrested, he would take a plea deal on willfully discharge of a firearm on July 31st of 2025. And luckily for T5, on September 2nd of 2025, he would have the rest of the counts dismissed. And on that day of September 2nd of 2025, they would sentence him to 16 months in state prison. And 1 month after T5 received that sentence, unfortunately, T4 would lose his life in a shooting. And he passed away on October 7th of 2025 at the age of 23. And his cause of death was a gunshot wound to the head. And most of us will see the video that was going around of him in his vehicle after being shot. However, 4 days after the death of T4, on October 11th of 2025, DC Baby Draco and the Denver Lane Bloods would drop a hood vlog. And at that time, there was no arrest made in the murder of T4. However, in the hood vlog, you can hear the Denver Lane Bloods claiming the body of T4 and T6 and saying how it's 2 biddies in 1 lane, meaning the Los Angeles Denver Lane Bloods and the Pasadena Denver Lane Bloods.
T4 or T6. Let's go down. T, make a 4 out that thing.
And in the next part of the vlog, they would be on a FaceTime call with Baby Braze from the Who's Who's. And they would yell out, "Go pick him up." And in the background, you can hear Braze saying there's blood on his ish. And he points to the bubble gum that's on his jacket, and that would be how you diss the Broadway Gangsters.
Tell me go pick him up. Go pick him up. Hold on. Yeah, big CK. Big CKs and all that though. Yeah. Big CKs and all that though. Yeah.
But y'all fight.
Yeah, 2 biddies 1 lane.
And like we said, this hood vlog dropped on October.
But y'all fight, right? For this fame to be on the camera, right? How many families suffering from this? How many mamas hurting, daddies hurting, sisters, brothers, cousins, uncles? Or kids don't have their parents from this. A whole lot went on. Hood vlogs is what's killing the streets for real, in a sense. The streets was already killing themselves. The hood vlogs just pushed them a little bit further. A lot further. You do your vlog, you cut out certain things, or stop doing hood vlogs.
'11th of 2025, so it had to be recorded anywhere from 1 to 3 days after the murder of T4. And like we said at that time, no arrest was made in the murder of T4. But 3 weeks after the murder of T4, and 19 days after this hood vlog dropped, they would arrest somebody for the murder of T4 on October 30th of 2025. And that person would be Fig Ye from Denver Lane Bloods, and he would be from 109th Street. And it's alleged that he would actually be in the hood vlog. But Fig Ye from Denver Lane Bloods was also charged with another shooting. And the offense date on that shooting is September 19th of 2025. And as you can see, he was charged with 2 counts of assaulting a person with a semi-automatic firearm and 2 enhancements. And they would also charge him with 1 count of felon in possession of a firearm. And they would also charge him with 1 count of murder. But if you look to the right, the offense date's October 7th of 2025, which is the day that T4 lost his life. And they would also charge him with 4 separate enhancements for that 1 murder. And the first enhancement would be personal use of a firearm. Second enhancement would be 1 or more serious violent felony convictions. And the third enhancement would be a prior serious felony. And the 4th enhancement would be murder by lying in the wait. And on that day, T4 was actually with somebody, and they was also shot. And as you can see, he was charged with 1 count of attempted murder. And they would add 2 enhancements to that count. And count 3 would be shooting at a vehicle. And that would also have 2 enhancements. And the last count would be felon in possession of a firearm for that day also. And Fig Ye was 25 years old at the time of his arrest. But it's alleged and rumored that Fig Ye was at the shooting of June 26th of 2024 when the Broadway gangsters would shoot at the Denver Lane Bloods in Lancaster, where 7 people were shot and 2 lost their life. But it's alleged and rumored that the Denver Lane Bloods would learn where T4 would be at on the night of October 7th of 2025. And it's alleged that Fig Ye would actually pull up to that location and be hiding, waiting for T4 to come outside. And as T4 got into his vehicle, Fig Ye would pop out and open fire on T4. And that's where the murder by lying in wait enhancement would come into play. And under California law, murder by lying in wait is a specific form of first-degree murder. It occurs when a perpetrator conceals their purpose, watches, and waits for a chance to act. It then makes a sudden, surprise attack from a position of advantage with intent to kill. And a first-degree murder charge carries 25 years to life in state prison. And just with that one...
Make sure y'all go tap in with Reputable Rants. Y'all just seen, I am now a subscriber for sure. Been seeing the content for a long time. Thought I subscribed. I didn't. I damn sure made sure I did it just then. Hold your loved ones close. Hold your loved ones close. There's a lot of crazy things going on, and it look like it's for cloud and enhancement fame for real, because all you're going to do is go to jail. It's over with for you. Depending on if you're young enough, you get out 20, 30 years, whatever the case may be. That's a lot of enhancements that was just read right there. But hey, I'm just one man, one voice, you know what I'm saying? Hey man, y'all like, share, sub up, tell a friend, tell 10 more, do it again. Bang that notification bell so y'all miss no more shorts, videos, demonstrations, real game, or updates on craziness in these wild California streets again. And the means and in betweens. We'll rock with you.
Put the story in order, then we give it right back. Politics in the streets, streets in the system, same cycle repeating. Nobody really listens. We talk consequences, not rumors and clout. What happened, why it happened, who it really about. No gimmicks, no industry, hand on the scale. Just voices from the pavement trying not to fail. Every episode pressure, every word got weight. We don't chase controversy, we document fate. If the city feel intense, we unpack it clean. No sensational spins, just the truth in between. Real talk, no biz. Real talk, no biz. No scripts, no favors, no